Okay, cool. So now we'll move on to one of the more complicated subjects in these slides, this concept of the ontological difference.
Okay.
Um, oh, and before we proceed, I wanted to correct something I said in the last lecture. I said the adjective for like Plato's philosophy was Platonian. It's actually Platonic. I don't know how I didn't remember that. Yeah, I know it would be called Platonism. Yep,
Cool.
yep. But anyways, so just so we have our terminology right for the future, because Plato might come up again. So,
Because Plato may haunt you in your dreams.
well, yeah, Heidegger was sort of a rejection of Plato, as we'll see. So, as was like Nietzsche, which was an influence on Heidegger. But so yeah, this is like a key point of like a key departure from Husserl's philosophy, and it's a very complicated subject, which I think should confuse you at first because yeah, I've thought about it a lot and it's still mysterious to me.
Should I prepare myself with a drink?
That's okay. If you're watching at home, I guess you can. But yeah, it's like in the morning when we're recording this, so let's not. So yeah, ontology. We know what that means, right? It's like the study of being. It's like it's like the just like understanding what things there are. Like what's the group of things we talk about? Like how we like when we study animals, like in biology we have an ontology of the different animals and vegetables there are. Like we can like segment that group of things in some way.
Segment that?
Segment that group of things in some way. Like we can categorize things basically.
Yeah.
Like ontology is sort of the study of how we categorize, but that also has to do with like how we understand being, like what it means to be an animal, to be a vegetable, what it means to be a cheetah, what it means to be a cat.
That sounds like just the biological definition.
Yeah, exactly. That I mean, yeah, like it's something that's just sort of presupposed within sciences.
Oh, it's like the Google Google found out the fourth state of material.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Something like that.
like in physics, sometimes our understanding of what things there are, like what phases of matter, changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Heidegger makes this case in the Introduction to Being and Time. It's like sort of like it's like sort of a guiding principle within all sciences, like how they categorize things and like how they understand, like basically how being operates, like how they understand the meaning of being within that science. Like it has different meanings within each domain of science. And this was actually what Husserl was concerned with too in his work. Like he was concerned with knowing what being is. Notice it's lowercase. Heidegger starts capitalizing it. But
do they mean the same thing or different?
uh, yeah, Heidegger has a different understanding of being when it's capitalized. Like he was trying to like mark it off from like how we use it in like the everyday sense. But like he was also concerned with just being in terms of fundamental ontology. Like he also wanted to know the meaning of being, but like what does it mean to say the book is red, light is a wave, I am an engineer, or I am a doctor, like when we use like these are all just um like these are all just conjugations of being basically to be. So like when we use those words, like we use it to form every proposition to attribute it to something. And like he wanted to understand like it's like basically it's like universal meaning through phenomenology, because to him the meaning of being was kind of fulfilled through mental active like through like mental intentions, through like mental acts, these intentional acts. um yeah, so that's what phenomenology sought out to explain, like what we mean when we say, like when we establish these propositions, like what we mean by being, because it wanted to explain the underlying intentions, like the mental acts that accompany them. So yeah, you see how that's sort of related to phenomenology.
So the book, light, I are phenomenals.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, like basically any proposition we form emerges from phenomena in Husserl's view. So
How about the fact that I'm a little thirsty? Is this a phenomenon?
yeah, there's been phenomenology of those.
Okay.
She needs to go get water. Um,
Okay. Well, let's continue.
yeah, so yeah, basically, yeah, but for him, like it was a very important activity because at the root of all science is like the set of propositions about things. Like this is it's sort of like the foundation of like the foundation of our scientific discourse, that we have these like sets of propositions that constitutes a body of knowledge.
It sounds like how we perceive the world.
Yeah, it is sort of, but it's also like, but yeah, for him, like all sciences sort of had a common substratum, like which was this like idealist like constitution of essences. Like it all, like for him it all rested on how the mind actually instantiates that essence, how the mind actually understands that essence.
Would neuroscience be important here?
I think in the last video we discussed that. So.
Oh, really? We did?
But, yeah, I don't. I think Husserl would disagree with that.
When History was alive, neuroscience wasn't as advanced as today.
No, it wasn't. But I think in his belief, no matter how far it advanced, it wouldn't have helped.
Why?
Okay, watch the last video. So, anyways, so for Heidegger, like as opposed to Husserl, he sees being and beings as distinct. So what does he mean by beings? It's sort of just like our understanding, like our everyday understanding of what entities are out there. Like
this capital B or lower B you're talking about?
Well, this being is capital.
Okay.
So this is like the difference we're talking about, the ontological difference.
Alright, so now we talk about the capital being.
Yeah. It's like I remember when we discussed this in an undergraduate class I was in, there was like a grad student who was like presenting on this, and he said, it helps if we just kind of like make up words, which is, very Heideggerian in spirit. But like it's like almost the difference between like being and beingness. It's like it's like the nature of being and like how it actually operates, and how we come to this everyday understanding of being. So like capital being is sort of like beingness. And then beings are something, like beings are sort of just like an everyday understanding of entities, and there's an interesting difference here. So like this everyday, like just this understanding of beings, just like everyday discussion of entities, presupposes like these regional ontologies. Like it's like a particular interpretation of being that guides a science or practice. So yeah, as we said, within biology, like their regional ontology sort of guides that whole science, like how they classify different species. And like within physics, like yeah, that's the regional ontology with plants, animals, minerals. Physics has like a regional ontology with like matter and energy, and this is actually an example that Heidegger uses in the Introduction to Being and Time is the theory of general relativity from Einstein. Like that was something that basically changed the regional ontology of physics. Like his theory was sort of about like what is like the underlying ontology of physics, and he changed it so that like matter and energy is essentially the same essence. And like he also created this new concept of space-time. Like he changed our understanding of what beings there are in physical reality. So for him, like regional ontologies in turn, so like most of our daily activity like occurs within these regional ontologies. Like there's like a practice that goes along with them, but all of those regional ontologies Heidegger believes like presupposes a fundamental ontology.
So the regional here, does it mean it's just partial, like only applies to part of
It's
the world?
no, it's like yeah, it's regional. He just means like within a certain science, but
Oh,
yeah, it has this like they have a way of like applying universally, and he acknowledges that. So yeah, this is like another like very easy mistake to make is that Heidegger is some sort of skeptic because there's no eternal essences. Like he does not deny that you can have knowledge
oh,
within these regional ontologies.
mm.
Like, but like he thinks they presuppose like this fundamental ontology, like of an interpretation of being that is like for him like almost like epochal, and this is like it sort of changes within each century, but like the fundamental like the guiding understanding of being, which is something that like determines all these sciences, like that's what for him is like the most mysterious object of human thought, like this like and he thinks philosophy is some like has continually misinterpreted this being as such, like what being in itself means.
So what being in itself means, this is a question that everyone gets wrong.
Yeah, he thinks philosophy has always misunderstood it, and and to be more specific, he thinks it's misunderstood it as metaphysical.
Huh. So it is not metaphysical?
Like Heidegger thinks that like metaphysics has to be like left behind to really get to the question of being.
What does metaphysics mean here?
Like metaphysics is like I mean the Greek term literally meant like beyond physics. It's
Okay.
like what's the like you have this like we have this physical understanding of things, like what's the underlying nature that guides all of that. Like
So to understand being, Heidegger thinks we need to focus on physics.
no. He thinks like you have to go beyond metaphysics. Like there's some like he thinks there's something like above metaphysics we haven't even asked about.
Oh, so metaphysics is beyond physics.
Yeah,
And there's something more beyond the metaphysics.
basically.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, and this like preoccupied him throughout. Like this, I chose to talk about this subject because I think it preoccupied him throughout his whole philosophy.
Mm.
So like this question of what being means. This is something he thinks it's like been proposed like even going back to Plato. It was something that was like proposed by the Greek thinkers. And then and then there's a forgetting of the question of what the question originally meant.
The question is, what is being?
Yeah, the meaning of being.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we can stop now.